Well, good evening, all my Dharma friends. It has been a while. Came back home Vietnam to see my parents. Really, it's really imagined that how the time takes toll on people, on everything. And coming back here, seeing all the good faces as well as new face, and I'm so happy to be here to share again what I've learned and of course over the times that I appreciate all of your effort to be here, to keep up with what we're doing, which I call the noble work. We've been doing a ennobling thing because of there are so many things wrong out there, and here we try to rectify ourselves. I'll go the word pleasure and the word experience. I mostly try to experience the reality out there, the reality of suffering. One of which that touched my mind the most is that I don't know how to describe this. Imagine yourself being born and paralyzed from the neck down. Around 2 to 3 o'clock every afternoon, we set him on a bench like I would rather call it a hand truck. And then tied him with a Velcro in 4 places. First one is right there, second one's right there, third one's right there, and the fourth one's right there. Because of he was paralyzed, he cannot move, he cannot support himself. So we put him on a bench and trap him with the velcros, and then we push him around so he can have an opportunity to look outside to see what was going on. And actually, it was the same thing every day because we cannot go any different places other than this is it. And it's just about his life. Sometimes I raise the question, why would this happen? Imagine putting yourself in a situation like that. You want to die or you want to live in such a quality of life? I don't know the answer. Is it wrong that he was born? Or is it part of life? That is one example. There are so many more of that. And what I do is that I try to get close to such a situation, to sympathize, to feel, to be with, so I can understand more of what I call the mind. Evidently, in Buddhism we call it karma. This is what happened you did in the past, and now you pay for such and such, such and such. Myself, I don't look at it that way. I'll explain that later on if I have time. But it's real funny. He himself doesn't seem to be suffering at all. He asked me, please kill the mosquito that bit my leg because I cannot do anything. So I bent down, I slapped the mosquitoes for him. That's a form of killing. But I did it anyway. But the thing is that he's still happy. He doesn't have any recognition that he is much less fortunate than a normal people. He doesn't feel that way. He's still smiling, rather kind of, joking around. So there was a lady. She was so compassionate with the situation. So she came over. She did something voodoo-like that she draws something on his forehead, and then she pressed it down like this as a gesture that given a bless to him. He doesn't understand, and he just laughed. As normal being born like us, we are very fortunate. But we did not take that opportunity to make it better. Instead, a lot of wrongfulness being done out there, and therefore you see that you have correctional centers, jails, and all kind of horrible crimes out there, including Putin. Where does that come from? Do you ever ask? Why are you here? Have you ever asked? Why the existence of human being is only here or someone else? Have you ever asked? And all of those questions can go back to the one source, which is the mind. This is what mind is. Who we are, what we are. This is the representation of the mind. And luckily that we have a recognition to know what is right, what is wrong. And right there we can have a choice to make it better or make it worse. Before I become a monk, my priority, my main goal was to liberate, self-liberation. But lately, I changed my mind. I changed my perspective. I don't care for liberations anymore. All I do care is love and compassion. Because only love and compassion that can heal everything. If you get enlightened, if you get realized, and you don't have any sense of compassion or love and kindness, then that liberation is a waste. Totally is a waste. Go beyond that. You will see that how important of love is, of compassion is. Because it doesn't matter which goal you are striving for. You're gonna aim at 2 points. Either for the existence or the non-existence of yourself. That's it. There's nothing else. You're trying to get enlightened because of those two reasons, for the existence or the non-existence. That's it. And you don't exactly know what the existence or the non-existence are. You don't exactly you don't know. But you do know now is that every kind of kind act of love and care toward human beings, it feels so good inside. It feels completely like you are a really being when you love, when you are compassionate to other beings. I guess that it would be a way that leads you to enlightenment. I don't know, and I don't even care for enlightenment. Try it. Try to love someone, and you will feel that the quality of giving out, and then it's just automatically that you're gonna receive the different kind of quality, the calm, the equanimity in which love that you give out will take place from within you. Imagine that you're standing right at a specific place that buried thousands and thousands of people. Underneath that, there are still bones. Try to experience that and see what's going on. Try to experience that where that the heat of the atomic bomb melt all the metals, and the metal fuses into a big clump, and then you touch that. Experience that. And then you're going to see that you're gonna see the greatest of the mind and the worst of the worst of the worst of the mind. We're talking about creativity. Don't be scared. It's just part of life, part of being a human being, part of what mind is. Experience that. There are many, many more things out there too. So Today was supposed to be a Q&A session, but I just shared a little bit. So it has been more than 2 months, so you must have had a lot of questions. So please share.
If you don't mind me asking, would you like
Please.
to explain why you killed the mosquitoes?
Why?
Yes, because you said you may explain later if you had time.
Yes. He asked me because of he was trapped. He couldn't move his hands. He couldn't do anything, and the mosquito was bitten him, the leg down. And he asked me to swap the mosquito, and I guess that is, as opposed to chase the mosquito away instead of kill the mosquito. I did it, automatically, so that's my karma. Yes, David.
Is there malaria in Vietnam?
Malaria? I don't think so. That's I don't see any case of malaria in Vietnam. Yes.
My name is Tahira.
Yes.
I met you today. My question is regarding compassion. It says, is it true that the compassion is incomplete if you are not compassionate to yourself?
Of course. That there are two ways that you can render your compassion, either outward to people first, or you can compassionate to yourself first. Either way, it will be fine, because in Tibetan practice, they put others before you. So what they do is that they have a specific phrase that let me take all the suffering from you so you can be happy. And another way is that you have to learn to love yourself first in order to love others, because if you don't know how to love yourself, then you cannot love others. But either way will be okay, because it's gonna take you to a supplying compassion. Yes.
Is there a difference between love and compassion?
Very indistinguished, because of the benefit is for others. But the thing is that love and compassion with ego, or love and compassion without ego, that is the main point. Because of you can love, you can compassionate with your relatives. It's easier to be love and to be compassionate with stranger. See, it's totally different, feeling and mental states.
You missed some pretty miserable weather here. Was the weather nice in Vietnam?
It's very hot, extremely hot. And it's every day, it's just like a 95 to 100 degree every day. And then you come back here, it's 40, 50. But the thing is that if you pay attention enough, is that the difference weather-wise, the difference of cultures and everything. But the indifference is that to no one. If you are with the no one, if you know that this is unbearable, if you know that this is bearable, you know that if you know this is nice, you know this is not nice. The nice and not nice, the bearable, the unbearable, all the variations of the mind of the situation. But the knowing doesn't change at all. And if we stick with the knowing, then everything will be fine. Just like that, when we meditate, it doesn't matter that you are soft, you are hard. It doesn't matter long if you stick with the knowing. And that is the art. Unwavering mental. Yes.
So maybe that touches on my next question. I was going to ask you, how do I process old afflictive emotions that keep rising up and causing me suffering?
Okay. This is the good one. Remember that it has been established already. You cannot change because of the root has been built already. So it doesn't matter that whether that it doesn't matter that how many times that afflicted emotion comes. But it does matter that every time it comes, you're mindful to it. You observe it. That's it. Because of afflicted emotions, they have a tendency of come and go, come and go. It doesn't matter, maybe 10,000 times, it still come and go. They don't stay for good. So remember that, and remember that it's just like a hobby. The mind is the part of the definition of the mind is the hobby. We have been trained to be like that, and that's why the mind is like that as of right now. So the only key to change, to alter the situation is that be mindful to it and understand what mind is. Once we understand, we get less suffering when afflicted emotion comes. That's it. And then the less react to the afflicted emotions, the less powers it becomes. And then every time it comes, you don't react. And then it becomes less and less. And that's why experienced teachers, they said that they would be happy to see afflicted emotions rather than there's nothing. Because of it, when there's nothing going on, you don't have a chance to practice. Now, when you get an afflicted emotion, then there is a chance to practice. Us too. Before I was afraid of those, but now sometimes it's kind of weird to ask for. Oh, please do come. And then you can watch yourself carefully with your attitude toward such a thing. Are you welcoming it, or are you taking it in with an acceptance? Now, those two, those you accept it, then there's one kind of quality of mind. But you welcome it. You welcome everything that's coming, then one kind of quality of mind. It's just like that Halloween, the people coming by, knocking on the door. You open it, or you don't open it. That's all. And then if you open it with your open heart, it's great. You don't have any affliction.
Two things. over time the reaction to an afflictive emotion diminishes.
Yes.
But does the afflictive emotion itself also diminish over time?
Yes,
The
of
more
course.
I practice
Yes,
mindfulness.
of course. Yes. You're gonna say it, you're gonna feel it, and then you're gonna surprise yourself. Oh, it has been quite a long time that I don't get angry. For instance, like that. Yes.
The second question is, in my practice, there is a fine line between observing an afflictive emotion and being lost in it.
Welcome to the reality. It's not only yourself but everybody. The very first, because of just like that, a still, calm water. Okay, and then anything that touch the surface of water at first, you can feel it right away. But as the waves moves on, we get accustomed to it, and we lost ourselves into the emotion. We lost ourselves into the waves. So the key to it is like be more mindful to whatever is going on. Now, a lot of experienced teachers like Thay, I can't even say his name anymore. Thay, he wrote a book said that mindfulness is not enough. And especially that we have to understand what mindfulness is. Have to understand so we can apply what mindfulness is into such a situation. And then, now, trust me on this one. Trust me on this one. Don't ignore your remembering. Don't ignore that. You can steer your remembering into some specific place in order to for afflicted emotion doesn't have any more destructive effect. Just remember that. Let's say that when you're angry of something, remember going to your breath. Remember that this is impermanent. Remember that, oh, I have to be mindful more. Remember that I am angry. Just remember one of those. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because of it. Just like that, you are in the situation now. You're walking out of the situation, looking into the situation. You don't identify yourself with the situation anymore. You're walking out of the situation, looking into the situation, and that's the key to make yourself less destructive when afflicted emotion comes. Remember that. Remember that. One thing of the mindfulness is to remember. And sometimes, if you are trained to remember with your rise and fall, your abdomen, fine. Just remember something because of just like that, you flip the channel. You holding the remote control, flipping the channels. Just like that. The key is don't try not to identify yourself with whatever is going on. We are so easy to get lost into such and such. Remember, walk out. When you remember, you walk out of the situation already. And then right there is up to 50% of destruction was gone already too. So, especially that watching with the mind. The more thinking of the situation, the more likely that you're gonna cause more destructive. Yeah, very easy, very easy. So people don't, people study meditation and they ignore the remembering. It's just like that. It's just like that taking a thorn to yak out the thorn, in your flesh. Same thing like that one. And if you're a greater meditation, then when you remember, you know that you are remembering. And that is another step, further step that for more experienced meditators, they know that they are using the means to solve the problem. Yes.
I need a little bit more clarification about the thorn being removed and walking away. Would you mind explaining a little bit more?
Yes, of course.
What was the question again?
She'd like to more definition, more clarify about using a thorn to pry out the thorn. It's just like that. Now I'm gonna go deeper into the meditation a little bit. Or there are two kinds: the materials and the immaterials. The material is that, for example, that all of which you can look, you can feel, you can see, you can hear. Those are material objects. And the immaterial objects are the space. You cannot feel the space. You can only, your five senses, your six senses can only feel the obvious objects. So remembering is a mental state, which is just like object, because of sometimes you don't remember, and sometimes you remember. So remembering comes and go too. So use the remembering to bring yourself out of the situation. And then for more experienced meditators, they're gonna use the remembering as an object too. But we are not so great for that. So we are the rememberer. We use that kind of means to get ourselves out of the situation. And that's what I tried. For some people, they go take a shower. And for some people, they flip the channels very quick in such a way that during the big argument between two people, and then the husband say, "Honey, what's for dinner tonight? Let's go out to eat." See that he flipped the channel completely out of the question, and then he solved the situation quite skillfully already. That's what I meant. Yes.
Rather than dwelling in our emotions and
yes.
living with it, just
Yes,
let it go
yes.
away.
Yes.
Thank you.
So use the thorn to take the thorn out. Like that.
Isn't it better to just let the afflictive memories that he was talking about, just let them go?
Yes.
And forget them?
That's one way too. That's one way. If we're strong, we're skillful enough for doing that, letting go is one way. Yes. Mm-hmm. Can we drop that? Can we drop it just like a hot coal that in your hand? You're holding an hot iron piece in your hand. You feel so hot that you have to drop it right away, and then you forget it completely. Can we do that? If we can, that's fantastic. And I've seen that in children. I've seen that. Somehow the dad was so mad that he yanked at the daughter. She was only 3 years old. So bad. She was crying, and she kept calling, Dad, Dad, Dad. And then the more that she called, the more that he got mad, and he kept slapping at her. When the incident's over, about 5 minutes later, she came back hugging him, give him a kiss. Can we do that? No, we cannot. Should we learn that? Should we learn, from that 3 years old girl? So that's what we should do. Here, monks, we have a phrase that a warning that you cannot get angry, get mad at some other overnight. And of course, that's very hard to let go. But some people actually do let go. During the argument, bang, 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 and then 2 hours later, let's go have an ice cream. It feels so great to let go. It feels so great that you don't hold a grudge. So letting go is one way too, if we can practice. But because of the human nature, we don't let go so easily. If someone someone scolds at you, and then perhaps you remember for months. So
It's the ego, right?
yeah, the ego is so high that we cannot let go.
So why is it when someone says let it go, you get more trouble?
That's right. So but the more, I would say that the more we understand what mind is, the more that we let go easier. Yeah. My approach is that I don't practice in line with dogmas. I practice in line with experience, with what we have, with what we all have. Because it doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter what color you are, you still have the mind. And all are working in the same way. If I can understand my mind, then I can understand you. Very easy. It's just a different combination, the manifestation of David, of Marcus, of everyone here is different in combination, that's all. But they all, after all, it's all mind. So understanding what mind is the great art.
How do I know the mind?
Okay. Now, first of all, can you picture your loved one in your mind? Can you see it? That's one representation of your mind. Can you count 1, 2, 3 in your mind? Yeah, that's one representation of the mind. Now, we go a little bit further. Can you feel the urge that you are asking? Can you feel that you want to understand, you desire to understand what mind is, the urge from within? Now, that one is more subtle, but we still can feel that is mind. That's what it is. And what you talk, what you hear, what you see, are the manifestation of the mind. The eyes, the nose, the ears are only the apparatus, the instrument in order for the mind to manifest. And so just once in a while go back, say, what is mind? And that will lead you, internally for the investigation to understand what mind is, because we all are nothing else but mind. We all are nothing else.
So is it another word for consciousness?
Consciousness is an overall term because of what it's involved with the storage house. When you remember a name, you remember a face, you remember your social security number, that stores in your consciousness. So consciousness is an over term for greater explanation. Let's say that awareness. We can say awareness is part of the consciousness. So when we dissect into what consciousness is, we see that there are so many things, which is so interesting. I'm really interested in such a thing. Yes. And up until now, I still don't know that I know enough for what mind is.
And intuition that comes from heart is also part of the mind. And
The heart is another name that the Far East people use in describing the mind.
same thing. Mind.
Same thing, the heart, yeah, same thing. And yes,
When you say letting go, are you talking about non-attachment, non-identification?
it's great. At first we have to let it go with ego. But then, as it goes on, we get used to it. We let it go so easily, and then we understand the totality, the whole spectrum of what mind is. Then right there's no ego, there's no karma, there's no nothing. It's just the natural work of nature. So at first you have to, sometimes we have to use force to let go. But then we get easier. It becomes a natural act of the mind that, let go, bang, you let go.
I don't know if it was said, but somebody said there's always awareness. So I'm going to make a distinction between conscious awareness and not conscious awareness. My question is, can there be focused, concentrated attention without conscious awareness?
So sometimes, when you concentrate, the quality of awareness is right there. But when you concentrate, you forget the awareness because of it involves with all kind of data that's going on with an object. So let's say that a great meal right in front of you, and then you enjoy it. You enjoy the meal so good that you observe yourself. You put yourself all into the meal. So that is part of the concentration. And when you observe everything into it, you forget who you are. You forget everything. But all are objects. And then I remind you, be mindful. Then right there, that mindfulness arises again. And then you can see that you, objects and mindfulness, the representation of both coming into being. And then you become mindful. Right at that time, the weight of mindfulness is more important. So the objects are less important. You become mindful and you don't get lost to it.
I noticed early in my practice, maybe 18 years ago, no, 14 years ago, I was striving towards concentration at the exclusion of everything else, like focusing exclusively on my breath and so just
Yes.
my breath.
Mhm.
So almost as though I wouldn't be aware of anything else except my breath. And then one day I was riding my bike and I thought, okay, I'll focus on my breathing. And then all of a sudden I became aware, consciously aware of all the grass around me, the trees around me, the sky, everything, the pavement. I became suddenly awake to all of that when I was trying to focus and concentrate on my breathing. And I thought, well, this is the opposite. This is not at the exclusion of everything else. This opens up my consciousness,
Yes,
my
yes,
awareness.
yes.
So I got the opposite of what, and I thought it was a curious thing.
It happens, especially that there are two kinds of awareness. Remember the concentrated awareness and the open out awareness. The open out awareness is that I use that a lot when I tell you that okay, when you hear the sound, you listen. When you feel the pain, you feel it. So that's an open awareness that there is no specific object at all. Once you open it out, then the most predominant object which come into your awareness, automatically your awareness will catch on that. And then if you have the predetermination of your breath, and then your breath become more obvious, more predominant, then you only feel that, oh, this is the only awareness, or only breath, and then you shut down all other senses. So it happens. People will practice for focus on one object for years, and then they're gonna let go of that to open awareness for years, and then they come back again, and then they go back to other one again. So interchangeable. You don't have to, because of especially during driving, you have to open your awareness instead of just focusing on one object. It's very dangerous. But during meditation, that either you can have either totally open out, or concentrate, or either half open out, half concentrate. We all gonna fall in that category. That's part of the mind too. Yeah.
Can I get one more?
Yes.
Okay. So I was having those experiences with awareness during those years, but during that time, I still wasn't happy. I would still experience negative, afflictive emotions that would still arise and cause me suffering, despite all these, fancy experiences with awareness, open awareness. And I found that being lost in a negative emotion perpetuates it in the long run. Avoiding a negative emotion perpetuates it in the long run. Like I feel a negative emotion, so I go out shopping. Say I go out shopping to avoid the feeling. That perpetuates it in the long run. Stuffing it down, suppressing it, definitely perpetuates the negative emotion in the long run. And I found the only way for me to process it so that it benefits me in the long run is to fully experience the emotion and watch it. And here's the great point, not to get lost in it, which is really tricky. But if I can remain detached and observe it while fully experience the demon, it processes. And over time, I seem to be less reactive to it when it comes back. And then as if it doesn't come back anymore over time. It just sort of comes back smaller, 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 and then it's gone after many years of doing this. And then it's like I'm not as angry as I used to be.
We would be aware for the tsunami Be aware of the tsunami.
So wait for it.
This is part of the mind too. This is part of the mind that you can experience that, less conflict. But then, for years, for so long, you don't see anything going on. But then all of a sudden, bam, a big one comes, and we cannot control it. It will come.
Okay.
Trust me on this one.
I'll wait for it. Thank you for the warning. Did the Buddha get a tsunami after his 40-day meditation that led to his enlightenment?
Yeah. It's, but just be aware. Just learn. Every step that we fail is a learning, a process of learning. And of course, that in meditation, we never say that we finish. Never say that one is finished. Even though that we thought that we are finished, but actually no. It keeps going, until that we are no longer attached to it. Now, no longer attached to it. Then the point of finishing is right there.
Really the last question. You said, wait for the tsunami, it's gonna come. So does that also mean something I feared, that these emotions didn't really dissipate and go away, they're just becoming more and more dormant, like Eckhart Tolle talks about?
As long as
body, and then it'll rise up.
As long as the residue is still there, as long as if you don't completely wipe out your residue, the chance of going back, the chance of defilement coming back in a tsunami effect might happen.
Is it okay to look for them, dig them up, and make them come up and
No, it's part of nature. We cannot. As of right now, can you invite anger to your state of being right now? No, you can't.
Not at this moment.
No, not at this moment. It's the same thing. But when things are put in the right place, appropriate situation arise that touch your weak point, it's going to come back.
Triggers, right? Some
Yes.
triggers, right?
Yes, something that triggers it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, the best way to get rid of a bad habit is just to stop doing it.
Stop doing it. Yes, of course. That's one way to learn it, and just somehow we stop doing it. That's one way. Yes.
I have a question. So, if somebody has just started this path of learning
Yes.
about mind and everything, you mentioned something about doing something forcefully initially. What would you say about the situation and the people? One way is to be compassionate and take all their suffering. But if you are not reached to a point where you can take all the suffering so further, how can you, what would you say about those initially, if you want to?
Oh no. Chew at your own pace. You cannot chew more than you can. I used to do that, and I'm still doing it right now. When I heard my friend need a kidney, my initial thought is that, okay, I'm going to give you a kidney. But then I measure myself that, oh, this is not. I'm gonna sorry for myself later on for doing this. So I'm not gonna do it. But I know that I have a compassion towards such a thing. Only that right now the compassion is not strong enough to give a kidney. So love yourself wisely.
Yeah, you come to a point where you become like it's a dilemma of what to do, right?
Yes, yes,
So how
yes.
to make decisions. It's
Yes,
sometimes
yes.
hard to.
Yes, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, it's just like that. You have $10 and then you try to give $8 out, and then you have only $2. How can I live with that $2 and such and such? So instead of giving out 8, you can give out 5, and then you can be comfortable with 5 in such a way, and then gradually somehow it's gonna lead toward to the goodness that maybe next time will be $6 instead of 5, and you give it out comfortably. I guarantee you that. With such a thing like that, it leads more forward. The more that you feel, the more that you let go. The more you let go, the more you feel better, and then that feeling better makes you let it go more. It's a spiral effect. Yeah. And because of that, you're not afraid of letting go.
Attached to my ego, like I
Yes.
am me, right?
Yes, but right now our ego is still great, so we, chew as much as we can bite, and that's it. But don't be over, and then you feel sorry for later on, and that will not be a good way to treat yourself. But sooner or later, don't worry. I guarantee you, sooner or later, you're gonna lean forward to do the greater thing, to let it go. Yeah, I'm 1000% sure for that. Yes, and it's just over the years that I can feel that I let go myself more easily. A lot of things before that I thought that I couldn't let go, but now it becomes easier, and it's not that myself only. Everybody here, we all gonna be like that because of why? Part of the mind, nature of the mind. Yeah, it's gonna lean forward. Even though that sometimes it's kind of hard, but trust me on this one, totally. Yes. Okay. So I thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my share, and I hope that every day, every moment of mindfulness, we transform our way of living. Okay. Thank you.